So this project is going to start with milling up a bunch of poplar. So we have poplar. We have 8-quarter poplar, 6-quarter, 5-quarter, and also some 4-quarter poplar. So we have different variations of width, sizes, and thicknesses, and that's how I usually get it from the sawmill. As you see, most of our videos start at the sawmill, where we get the lumber for each order, or for multiple orders, depending on what we got on. So this is going to be a big console table. I say big; it's going to have a middle shelf, and it's going to be higher than normal and a little wider than normal console tables I make. So it's going to be all poplar. We are going to eventually paint this, but this video we're just going to be just building and assembling this table and finishing it up to the paint. So we're not going to show the paint in this video. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that because I have another table I'm going to be building after this. So this is going to be just milling up this lumber. That's how we start. We get the lumber from the sawmill, we bring it in, we mill it up. Using whether it be a jigsaw, circular saw, miter saw, table saw, jointer, planer, a lot of sanding, and also we're going to be running a router table, a chamfer on each end of the aprons and stretchers, and also the legs, and obviously at the end when we do the top. So right now we're starting out with the legs. We're going to be laminating some of the 6-quarter poplar into 4 legs. So we're going to that's where we're starting now. We're going to try to get a straight edge, and then we're going to run everything through the table saw, and then we're going to glue everything up. Okay, so now we're going to kind of repeat the same steps with different legs. We're going to be doing the frame pieces, and this is also going to be 6-quarter poplar. It's a little rough, but it's not as wide as the other piece. If we cut this with the miter saw, just be careful when you do this, and if you need to shim against your saw fence in case you have kickback. So right now everything's going well, so I don't have to worry about that right now. No shims. So we're going to just measure, cut everything with the miter saw. Then we're going to take everything with the joiner, table saw, and just mill it all up and get it to the final thickness and width and length. Okay, so I know pocket holes aren't the most exciting and best for videoing, but this is real life, so this is an order I have to kind of get done. I have multiple tables. So one table here with the multiple pieces, I'm going to be using pocket holes. I think pocket holes are strong as long as you use glue and good clamp up pressure and make sure everything's square. So that's important. So we're going to use pocket holes. Other tables I will be building will be with mortise and tenon. So as you can see, then we're going to take everything over to the router table. We're going to run a chamfer on all the frame pieces, which is the legs, aprons, and stretchers. So we're going to do that now before we get ready for final sanding and assembly. All right, almost ready for assembly. First, we got to do a little layout here, since these are going to be a little taller than my normal table, so we're going to make some templates for the middle shelf. Also with pocket holes, this is kind of a more of a realistic, and also this video is kind of based on simplest way to build a nice quality table. Okay. And we still have to lay everything out. This is the most important part of any joinery with furniture is your layout. You have to have your layout correct, measurements. Everything needs to be square, and whether you're using pocket holes, nails, mortise, tenon joinery, or whatever, lap joints, you need to have your layout done ahead of time. Another tip, when building furniture, no matter what joinery you're using, what type of wood, what kind of furniture you're building, whether it be rustic farmhouse, fine furniture, modern, whatever. It's a good idea to always have spacers for your reveals, like these little oak spacers I'm using here, and also this plywood spacers for my spacing of my shelving. It definitely makes your job a lot easier, a lot quicker, and a lot more consistent to have spacers, whether it be, like I said, for your shelving pieces or for your reveals and your shadow lines of your joinery and things like chamfers and shadow lines. Definitely give furniture a nicer touch, more custom touch, more quality touch to your furniture. It's a nice little thing to do. They're subtle things like that, but they're also important that makes your furniture stand out. So just keep that in mind. Okay, see here, I'm going to do some of these little touches. We put the bottom cleats in, it will hold the bottom shelves. We're just using some brad nails and some small 1¼ inch trim head screws. And you can see here, we're also going to run a chamfer on the bottom feet to prevent from tear out. So now we're going to move on to the top. So now we're going to start milling up the top. This is going to be 5/4 poplar. These are various lengths and widths, so we're going to mill these up now. Same process, kind of a rinse and repeat type situation here, where it's going to mill everything up, get it nice and ready to go, get the final thickness and width and length. Not the final length, but the close to the final length, because we're going to laminate this and then we'll cut the final length at the end. But right now we're just going to get down the final thickness and get smooth, straight edges, since we will be laminating this. You cannot have gaps when you're gluing up tops. So let's just finish this process now. As you can see, we do not want gaps here. So now we're going to glue this up. And to glue this up, we're going to be using biscuits. So we're using glue and biscuits here, and the biscuits are great for alignment. These are probably my favorite things to use for laminating tops, especially thinner tops like this. If I'm using thicker stock, like 8/4 inch tops, then I like to use a domino. But if I'm using like stuff like this, I think it's just plain glue or the biscuits perfect for getting everything nice and level and straight. Okay, you can see here as I have the biscuit joiner out, I'm going to be using the biscuit joiner to cut my slots in for my Z-clips. This will hold the tops in when we mount the top later in the video. This lets the wood move over time and weather changes. So the biscuit's also a cool thing for this feature too. You can also use a table saw and just cut your groove, or you use a router bit, or even your domino. But I like to use the biscuits, perfect thickness, and I think the width of the slot is perfect. So for all my tops, I typically run a hand plane over the glue joints at least, if I have any high spots. Then run the belt sander with about 60 grit, and then a regular orbital sander about 60, 80 grit. Then I like to run a chamfer on the bottom and top edges of all four sides of the top to give it a nice, softer, more fancy look. And then we just finish our sanding up to about 180 to 200 grit typically, especially with poplar. And now we can move on to the bottom shelves here. And this is almost like getting towards the end of this build for the most part. This is where it all starts coming together. So we're going to mill this. This is all going to be 4/4 poplar here for these bottom shelves. Okay, so we're temporarily going to mount the top here. Just showing you how we do. We just self-tap screws with the Z-clips and just hand tighten them on, but we're going to take the top back off to do one more final sanding, and we're going to be painting this eventually. That will be a separate video. So this came out real nice. I love the way this poplar looks natural. I know it's not a preferred wood for furniture, besides for face frames and things like that, but it paints and stains well. But I think it has a nice look naturally without any stain or paint. So I think it came out real nice. It came out strong. It made it easy as possible, as quick as possible, and as strong as possible. So this is about it. Hopefully you like. May do a separate video for the paint possibly. We have a couple more tables to make. All right, thanks for watching.